P. Temple, read by the author. An audiobook in 6 parts. Episode 1, Future Treats. I know this is strange, and it shouldn't have happened. But before I explain, promise me you will try to remember a few things. I regret what I did thinking back. Maybe wait to judge stuff? Also, remember you would have taken off all your clothes for that much money too. Everything started back on October 16th, 2002. Long story short, my mom sometimes tried to save money on beer by buying a 24-pack, intending to drink a can a night. Then the beer would be gone by the morning. It had been a 24-pack night. After slamming the glass sliding door in front of my mom laying in front of the sofa, I left home, with anything I had left stuffed in my emotional support hoodie and a side saddlebag. In my math book, I couldn't afford to pay the fine if I didn't return it. Yes, I have an emotional support hoodie. Leave me alone. The point is, when I left, I decided I wasn't going back. The issue was I had nowhere to go. Not after ruining everything over a stupid argument. Do you have places you go when you get stuck? When the world feels like it is closing in on me, I end up in the park or Neonopolis. Usually, I went to Mia's. Unless her mom was home, which is like almost never, right? Well, that night I walked to the park in the dark, hoping I could hide out behind a bush or something until I could figure out what to do. I have a bush I like, but anywhere there works. I needed a moment to breathe and to feel safe. To my surprise, I saw a giant raised stage full of colorful lights. A crowd of partying teenagers and adults danced around, soaking in paint. The hand thingy reached 10:30 in my plastic watch. I wondered who would allow a party on a Tuesday night. The crowd cheered and held up their arms as the paint splattered. I sighed. I thought about heading to my second spot, but figured wandering around Las Vegas at night wasn't a great idea. A voice I can only describe as a ditzy treebeard who focused on weird words came from behind me. I jumped. I faced a woman a little older than me wearing giant swim goggles, splattered with so much pigment I'm not sure how she could see. "Was that me, I presume?" she said, adjusting her shower cap wet with paint. "Or Aurore Chandler, it looks like." Not knowing what to say to this, I shrugged. "Yeah, I'm Aurore Chandler." "This is yours." From inside her multicolored plastic coat pocket, she handed me a small, flat, white package. It had a strange ice cream cone logo on the front. "I don't think this is mine." I tried to hand it back. "Oh no, I can't take it back. Make sure you watch the video when you turn 18 at midnight. You can go in. You're an employee. You're on the list. Good luck. And don't forget to wash your hands," she said, looking at the box. "Watch the video?" I asked. The box in my hand didn't weigh as much as a videotape. "How did you know?" She ran into the crowd, past the entrance, not bothered by the flying paint from the super soakers on stage. The ticket woman with all the tattoos didn't stop me from going into the event, so I ran after the goggled lady. As I made my way through the people after her, a familiar face popped into view. She danced, kind of, wearing an orange tank top and ripped jeans. "Oh no, Mia's here," I said. You see, I had decided she and I shouldn't be friends anymore. Not after our last fight. Like, when the world feels like it's gonna explode, she's the one who helps out the most. But I suck, and I can't keep friends. Of course she would be there that night too. I looked at my knuckles, which had finally started looking kinda normal again. Not so purple and swollen. Colors fell on the white package before I could jam it in my hoodie pocket. I turned from the stage to walk to the back of the park past the concession stands. From there, I could take the sidewalk with the working streetlights, till I could figure something out. I also had a fear of confrontation, which I'm sure didn't factor into anything. Then she saw me. With a clear view, no head or body part obstructed. Her eyes narrowed at me. I felt like there should have been a Western showdown theme playing or something. I turned around, pretending to look at whatever else. I picked a fried sweet potato stand in the corner of the park and did not look away for as long as I could. My head turned back in the direction of where she had been standing. She stared at me. I bet she never looked away. Too many people touched me as I pushed my way through the crowd to her. My nose bumped up against hers. She stood back. With that dirty blonde, mid-length, side-parted curly hair, the orange tank top glowed in the neon lights. Her eyes gave me the wild bear look. Blue eyes with a hint of green and gray with the little specks of an auburn color sort of thing. Guess you know. Anyways, her orange and green cheeks pointed down. Chances are in a frown. She pointed. I knew what she was pointing to. Away from the crowd of people. I went with her, partly having nowhere to run, partly because I missed her. Once we got away from the noise and constant paint showers, she took out her earplugs. She wrinkled her nose. Someone chucked a trash can into a dumpster near the park food trucks. Like, are you following me again? Like when you wanted that stupid note from Sally in junior high? She said, with a pinch of whatever that low-pitched California emo thing of hers is. Who the hell talks to Sally? No one. Sometimes my brain needs time to shift through all the random thoughts that pop up. Her eyes rolled. She waited, knowing my head also runs on volunteer hamsters, which there aren't too many of. Instead of answering her question, I was like, I know I punched a hole in your wall. I shouldn't have done that over our Mongolian barbecue versus Mongolian grill fight. She let out an angry sigh. It's not called Mongolian barbecue, it's Mongolian grill. You make it sound like they're barbecuing Mongolians. That's horrible. Nobody wants that unless it's a name for a punk rock band. I will not back down. But I stopped myself. The S word is one of our forbidden words we promise not to use with each other. I wish I could have been better. I need your help. Something happened. I got this thing, but I don't know what to do with it, and I have nowhere to go. 24-pack night? She asked. I nodded. Come over for coffee. She didn't look at me when she said it. Told me you never wanted to speak to me again. I messed everything up. I can't do anything right. I don't deserve at all to be, I said, hitting myself with words. She put a finger to my lips and closed her eyes. Easy. Past is dead. We can start over. You know, if you'd take it easier on yourself, we wouldn't fight. Never mind. I know where we can get a van. Let's go to my house and look at those math notes you didn't take. Class, we need the pass if we want to graduate. I'm adding Mongolian to our list of things we don't talk about. That means you're on your own in next week's history test, which I'm so regretful of. But my mom is home early from the trip again, so be ready for that. Does your mom know about us? I asked. She did that weird lip thing she does when she's not sure how to answer something. The music stopped playing. The lights went out. People headed to their cars. I'll be back. She ran in a different direction down the street. I found a park bench and waited. A glow of fireflies greeted me in the parking lot as I watched the people leave and the food trucks pack up. Feeling the package in my hoodie pocket, I wondered if she would return. Bang rang out nearby, and a familiar old white hippie van drove to the curb in front of me. Mia sat in the driver's seat and motioned me with her head to get in. Does your aunt know you have her van? I asked, slamming my door after climbing into the passenger seat. She frowned and closed her eyes. She breathed out with her tongue partly sticking out. It's mine after I get the money, she said, revving the engine. The van sped down the street, more than likely over the speed limit. Finally, she is like, can you change the tape and put in the Aurore's birthday mix? Cassette tapes are sprawled out between the seats and on the floor, like usual. Mia didn't want to spend the $10 on an adapter for the van CD player, so she made tapes. She recorded a bunch of stuff so she and her mom could have something to listen to on the way back and forth from court, unless Miss K was home from a business trip. How did you know my birthday was today? I asked, reaching for the tape. That's a stupid question, she replied, for once focused on the road so she wouldn't have to look at me. I was hoping you would call me. Why didn't you call me? I asked. She let out an angry snort of air. Something in my hoodie pocket began to vibrate, loud enough to hear it. Her face became ghost white. Why the hell is that shaking? She asked, gripping the steering wheel harder. The intensity grew stronger and stronger in cycles of buzzing, stopping and then starting again. That's what the Google lady gave me, I said. Get it out of here, she shouted. The van drove into a roundabout. She reached inside my hoodie and grabbed the box. She tossed the package outside onto the gravel. Mia stretched out her arms to protect her face and got closer to me. I covered my head. We waited for what we thought would be an explosion. The box kept moving on the rocks. We got out. It shook on the ground at our feet, but it didn't explode. We looked at each other. Hello from Future Treats, we heard from the inside. The lid blew open. Confetti fell everywhere. We care. What the hell? Mia shouted. Where did that come from? A truck horn honked as it drove across the sidewalk to pass us. She looked back to the van that blocked the roundabout. It's not going to blow up. Let's take it with us. She picked up some confetti and put some in her pockets. We got in the van that plowed over the gravel and raced through the roundabout. She pulled over again when it looked safe to park. We both looked at the package. I opened it. She ducked behind me. The device looked like a futuristic handheld PDA. A red screen and the square device switched on. The ice cream logo turned red. A name appeared on the screen. ACAMI. I have no idea what an Azami is, or how it even pronounced something like that, I said. Mia shrugged. Under that name appeared mine, Aurore. The device began to talk as if a person were speaking. Let's get to work, it said. We looked at each other. Why does the PDA vibrate? I asked. Hi, Azami. Let's start the employee video. I wasn't sure if the device thing glitched out or if that's how you say that name. Or if the device was supposed to shock me and burn my hand a little or not. I turned to her. I'm like, that thing called me Azami? She shrugged. Did that thing shock you? Meh. A video played on the PDA thing. An ice cream scoop crossed the screen. Words appeared on top of the strawberry ice cream. Picture was sharper and cleaner than anything we had ever seen. I wish I could see the rest of the world with that kind of clarity. This is nuts, Mia exclaimed. Flash blinded us. The ground shook. I felt the strange sensation all over my body. When I could see again, the light from objects bent in strange ways. Light from everything spun towards something. Everything went black. Before my eyesight came back, I heard a voice. I looked around. Everything looked the same as it had moments before. The touchpad glass thing did whatever it did whenever sucking us into the thing, and now we stood in the same place. Happy birthday, employee. You can begin your shift whenever you want. You might have questions such as, what is going on? Where am I? How do I file my W-2? Let's address some of those questions. My head turned to the driver's seat. She moved closer to me and squinted at the PDA. What did that thing do to us? She asked. The video cut from the ice cream cone to a beach with the waves hitting the sand on a bright day. You are exactly where you were before you found this device. In the same room, with the same people you love and cherish. You are okay. You are in a completely different, identical universe. You have signed up to work for Future Treats. Who are we? We deliver food whenever you want it. How does Future Treats provide our great service? without causing complications to the space-time continuum? Let me tell you, because we care, we cannot offer our service within our own universe. You can imagine why this might be a bad idea, but luckily, with your help, we can offer our service to a select few universes, or dimensions if that makes more sense to you. Now, are you calm? No, we both exclaimed. Perfect. For a fun explanation, here's a scientist from our company. The hell is this identical universe? Mia asked. An ice cream scoop hand puppet appeared against a basic textured blue wall. A woman spoke in a ridiculous voice. You like video games, don't you? Well, imagine you got the high score and you're ready to move on to the next level. The game auto-saves your progress into a file. Sometimes, for unknown reasons, this file can get saved into multiple copies. If you open any of these files, they play. You have all your items, and nothing major has changed. Think of this dimension you are in now like one of those save files. It's a copy of the dimension you used to live in. You might notice a few anomalies, but let's not freak. At Future Treat, we care. So, let's pause a second and think about what we learned. Why is the puppet talking so much? I don't like it, she said. To my horror, the puppet went on. You're in one of these dimensional save files right now. This isn't a game, this is real. So please read the employee standards of conduct so you won't get yourself hurt. We wouldn't want that. Remember, you signed a waiver. The video changed to a wide shot of the lady with the puppet. She laughed and took the puppet off her hand. She spoke in a normal voice. The older woman had reddish hair and laughed a bit before talking next. The dimension you are in is safe. Other than the risk you and all your party agreed to when you signed your contract. There is nothing you can do here that is going to mess up any timelines, realities, any of that. Everything has been safeguarded for us. Now, you might ask, could I go back in time and kill Hitler as a child? Yes, if you could find an order from back then, I suppose, but you have fast food to deliver. If you choose to start your shift, you have 8 hours to take deliveries at your convenience. At the end of the 8 hours, you might get to go home with all your money you've earned. If you don't want to work, that's okay too. We have another you on shift who is willing to work. If you choose not to take deliveries, please enjoy or time travel PDA. At the end of those 8 hours in the shift, you could return to this exact moment. If you still have questions, you can ask them then. Remember, we care. I saw a box on the device screen prompting me to please agree. Is this a joke? Mia asked. We're in a different dimension? Are you doing this? Did you set this up? No, I have no idea what's going on. Why would you say that? She said. I stammered. I don't know. Why did I say that? Mia never plays pranks on me. Why did I question her like that? I didn't mean it. I don't know what any of this means. I don't blame you for stuff, she exclaimed. Sounds like you got signed up for something. What am I supposed to do with this? I looked down at the PDA. We gotta get back to my home soon, she shifted gears. Wait, if this is a job, do you think it pays well? I asked, raising my eyebrow. She grunted, turning to the steering wheel. I need to talk to my mom about this. She'll know what to do. I turned to her. Didn't the video say this is an identical dimension or something? Wouldn't that mean it's not your mom, it's one of your moms? I mean, she said. I could see her thinking, it's still my mom. Maybe we shouldn't tell her that we got put in an identical universe for some time travel fast food job? She's not going to believe us. That was that one day. She doesn't always act like that. She takes stuff out on people like I do, she exclaimed. So she'll be okay with knowing we've been hanging out. Mia glanced and shook her head. She turned up the volume of the birthday tape mix. We listened to the bumps in the road along with the wailing guitars and the screaming vocals. Episode 2. Don't Slam the Door. Neither of us talked until the van pulled up into the open garage. We parked. Mia whispered, "Close your door very, very quietly. Don't slam it. Mom can hear like a mouse whispering prayers from close up. Don't make any noise above this level of a whisper. If she doesn't hear it, she's not gonna wake up. And I don't have to explain stuff tonight. You can try to convince my mom you're not the devil in the morning." I'm like, "Why is the mouse praying? Why can your mom hear them? Who are they praying to? Are there cheese gods who demand sacrifices?" She told me that wasn't the point and told me again not to slam my door. She got out of the van quietly as she could and snuck across the concrete floor. She reached for a rope attached at the top and pulled it all the way down, closing the garage without making a sound. Proud, she turned to me. "Nailed it," she whispered. "Slam!" She looked back to me in horror. I looked back, also in horror. My mouth hung open. I was thinking, "Don't slam the door so hard I slammed the door. I'm so sorry." Stomping her foot and stretching out her fingers in anger, she said, "I asked you to do one thing." "One is a hard number. I messed up. I'm sorry," I replied. "Apology loop." From the kitchen entrance of the garage, Miss K rushed out. She turned on a single light. She stood in her black nightgown, looking hard and confused. We stood covered in paint. "Mia, is that you?" she asked. Mia rolled her eyes. "No, Mom, I'm Dumbledore. I'm here to solve all your problems for you." She shook her head as if that were the dumbest question ever. Miss K's face got angry red. I know that look on a mother's face. I should have stopped myself from letting her pick me up from the park. She shouldn't be hanging around me. This is why I don't deserve to have happiness. Why can't I get out of my way? "I'm sorry," I said, hyperventilating. Mia turned to me. "Apology loop." She turned back to her mother, rolling her eyes. "Yeah, Mom, I picked up a hooker, bought some blow, and joined a cult too." Miss K looked at me and sighed. "Are you the cult leader or are you the hooker?" she said to me. Mia put a hand on my shoulder since my knees were shaking and my face must have looked like a fish out of water trying to breathe. "Maybe both," she said. Miss K took a couple of steps towards us. "You don't have a license, Mia." Her left eye twitched. I gasped. Mia shrugged. "If someone were home to take me to the test, I'd have one." Miss K is like, "Maria, Serenity, what is going on? Why is Aurore here? Close to 1 o'clock in the morning." We looked at each other, hoping the other one would know what to do. But of course, I'm stupid and I can't think of anything. Mia rolled her eyes at me after not saying anything. She starts explaining. "Bianca will figure out the van is gone. I went looking for Aurora in the park and found a glow party going on. Someone gave them a package with a futuristic PDA. Strange stuff happened. A puppet told us we were in an identical dimension, here to deliver fast food." My hand shook as I reached out to show the PDA to Miss K. She looked to it, tired. "Nice Palm Pilot." Miss K closed her eyes and let out a deep sigh. "Identical dimension? This is what you came up with to tell me? Out of all the things you could have picked, it's identical dimension fast food. Do you think I'm stupid?" On the futuristic device, I looked at the apps trying to figure out some way to show Miss K the employee video we saw. But the video was gone. I couldn't figure out how to find it. The phone had a weird setup that made it super hard to find anything. Mia looked at me. I shook my head. "I can't find the video. It said there'd be an 8-hour shift. Then we'd get the return when the shift started or something." Miss K stepped towards the kitchen door. "What is happening is You are going to bed. I am calling Aurore's mother to come pick up the identical dimension traveler. Miss K looked at me. What's your number? I don't know what my number is, which is true. I didn't bother to memorize my house number. What was I going to do calling my house anyways? Check on the answering machine to see if the house was lonely? My mom would never pick up. Miss K walked over to me. I held my breath. She took something sticking out of my hoodie, the flyer from my math book. Future Treats ad on the back faced me as she looked at the names on the parent meetup flyer. She found my name and walked to the kitchen. She picked up the receiver on the wall. Fingers punched in some numbers. She won't answer. I followed her inside. My hands fell flat on the counter beside Miss K. Mom, stop. Mia stood near the refrigerator, covered in envelopes marked bills, held on by those magnetic things. They were all unpaid. Let's get everyone home, Miss K huffed, waiting as the phone rang. Cue to tragedy. For the first time ever, my other mother answered the phone. I was doomed. Aurore's here and... She paused. Miss K turned to me as my mom spoke, slurring her words over the receiver. She couldn't stop looking at me. She knew. I listened. She listened. My mom had told her something. I lowered my eyes. You should drink some water. She hung up the phone. Mia hesitated before asking, What did she say? Miss K turned around away from us. She spoke. That Aurore can spend the night. I'll drive you both to school in the morning. Does that handheld device tell you when your shift starts? Is it going to interfere with your math class that you're failing? I shrugged. How about you both go to sleep? Miss K turned back to talk to us. Instead, she saw us in the kitchen. I grabbed a cup from the top cabinet. Mia poured a cup of coffee on the right side of the kitchen into her favorite cup, the one with the emo llama. I then realized what I did. We looked up at her. How did you know where the coffee cups were, Aurore? She asked. I didn't answer. I took a sip of coffee, hoping she wouldn't notice me wide-eyed. She shook her head. How about you rest up, study, and if you're worried about whatever this PDA time thing is, we can deal with it. There's leftover pizza in the fridge if you want any. I only have $40 left, so that might be it for a while. I'll call my sister in the morning. I'm going to bed. Thanks, Mom. Mia walked further into the house and turned back to look at me. Miss K went back to her bedroom, closing the door. I stood there, confused. She knows what's up. She's like, no one's in trouble. We yelled out sometimes. Come on. I'm like, used to fighting with fists and stuff. This is all weird to me. She almost smiled, but sounded annoyed. Get used to it. We brought the pizza slices up the stairs to her room, on plates hot from the microwave. Mia sat on the floor next to me. After using a napkin to wipe neon paint off her face, she took a slice of pizza from the plate on my lap. Her lips twisted. How could you work for a company you didn't sign up to work for? How is that legal? I nodded. PDA buzzed. We jumped about a foot away together in shock. She pointed. Is there a not make it do weird button? Something else on the screen came up. Take this order now and receive a $2,000 bonus. Coffee delivery. My eyes went to the order details. $2,000? I could make $2,000 by delivering coffee? I could find a place to live and eat, couldn't I? For a month. That's how much my mom pays for this place. We know this address. This is Lost Coffee. Order 66. We can pick up the order before school tomorrow. Your mom pays $2,000 a month? About? For this house? I asked. She nodded. If you include utilities, yeah, she pays a lot. We don't know what this is. What if this is some kind of scam? The video did have a puppet. But if there are more jobs like that, we can make some real money. Maybe my mom could take some time off if we could help out. Did you see all those bills in the fridge? Mia said. We don't know anything about this. Though I kept reading on the screen, $2,000. Of course you don't want to do anything, Mia blurted. You never want to do anything to make your situation better. There's so much about this thing we don't know. My fingertip glided over the glass screen. I don't think we should risk whatever this is. She looked hurt at this. I'm not going to mess us up this time, I said. She never answered that. From how her lip twisted, she wanted to say something else, but didn't. It had been hard to sleep after drinking so much coffee with so much excitement, but we laid together for a few hours, with the windows cracked, listening to my CD player skip every minute or so. She had the right earbud, I had the left. We listened to the same CD on repeat until we fell asleep and the sun came up. I wake up cold at the K house because of how low Mia liked to keep the thermostat. She wraps herself in blankets by the time the sun rises. After staying there for a while, she can bear to get up and face the day. I use this time to go downstairs and make coffee until she calms down. After she and I first started hanging out, we would always start fighting first thing in the morning. I'm the grumpy one, she's a wild bear the entire morning. She threw a spoon at me once. That meant to stop talking. We started following a morning depression checklist. It's a routine of coffee and panicking. Things got better. Kind of. That morning, after showering and borrowing some of Mia's clothes, Miss K drove us to Lost Coffee in her expensive Mustang. The place was close to her school and didn't have as much traffic. I fumed over having to carry around the PDA. I couldn't leave that thing in Mia's room. But what was I supposed to do with that the whole day? Keep it in my pocket? I could use it without dialing into the internet, but I could just walk to a computer. We went to get out of the car, and I was like, bye, Miss K, real fast and stuff. But she said, Aurore, can I talk to you for a moment? Alone? I bet my face looked like somebody had asked me to tap dance on steak knives or something. I mouthed to Mia, save me, and then I remembered she couldn't read lips, and that Miss K totally could see me mouthing stuff. Mia stood there, squinting at me confused, trying to figure out what I was saying. I'm gonna get you an Americano. She shook her head and headed into the neon building. I sat alone in the left seat behind Miss K, who stopped the Aurore's Birthday mixtape. She let out a breath as if relieved. The sadness of the music seemed to hurt her or something. She pulled out the tape and examined the label. Oh, she said. Is this tape yours? I gulped. Yeah, Mia made it for me today. Happy birthday, she said. I sat frozen, unable to speak. I tried to say something that sounded like Smanx, but my mumbling words drowned out halfway through saying it. I nodded a few times instead. That seemed to be enough for her. She also nodded. The seats smelled clean. That's what I remember thinking, trying not to think. I'm always finding new ways to do that. I asked her, is this about the confetti last night? I can explain. There was a long pause before she spoke to me again. She sat gripping the steering wheel with both hands. She thought for a while before saying, I'm not sure which dimension we are in, but whatever dimension you find yourself, you can stay with us, she informed me. Money is tight. Actually, it's really bad. I don't know how much I can help you. Squirming in my seat, I exclaimed, I can look for a job. It dawned on me. My fingers glided over the PDA in my pocket. Oh, have a job. I can help you. You mean the Palm Pilot you found last night? She blinked a couple of long blinks. She turned around in the driver's seat to face me. Some of the orders on the PDA are for a lot of money. It's a real job, I think. I showed the amount to her. Her left eye closed and her head tilted sideways. Something about this seems off. She glanced sideways. Are you sure this thing isn't going to start asking you to take off all your clothes or something? I reached for the door handle. I will never take off my clothes for money, Miss K. She shook her head. You know what I wish somebody would have taught me, Rory? She reached for her purse. In case you didn't know, Aurore is a confusing name my mom picked for me because it sounded cool. A lot of people don't know that the re at the end is silent, so the teachers and the other kids would call me Aurore, or Rory for short. I don't like being called that, but I wasn't going to correct her. I wish somebody would have told me not to owe anything to anybody. I haven't made a sale in months. She seemed to reflect on the thought. Her face got weird, like that wasn't something I was supposed to know. She went on. Make sure Mia finds a payphone and checks in with me after school. I'll be at the office. Might have to fly back to Chicago tonight. She rubbed her eyes, then handed me two $20 bills from her purse. She's gonna jump without looking someday. I know because I live out of a suitcase most days of the year. That's how I got here. With you around, maybe she'll think twice about doing Mia things. Miss K, she's my. I would never leave her behind. You can trust me, I'm stable. Miss K grabbed my shirt as I went to get out of the Mustang. I flinched. Wait, she said, loosening her grip after seeing my mini freak out. Do you see that person? They are stumbling inside. I should go in with you. I can throw down. I lowered my raised eyebrow. She gave me a death glare. She leaned towards the steering wheel, tapping her fingers. Throw down. She remembered the fight from junior high, the one where all the counselors and therapists got involved. I got to go study math, Miss K. We got a test this morning. I got out of that Mustang so fast, I slammed the door and ran inside the coffee shop. Be careful, I heard her say behind me. I found Mia waiting in the back of the coffee shop, collecting pillows from the other 8 retro sofas lining the outer walls of the shop. People sat drinking coffee in large black mugs, some at the tables. Purple and light blue tubes lit the place, casting shadows on the register on the L-shaped counter. The aroma of roasted coffee beans and indie books lingered in the air. I walked past the college students sitting cross-legged on the floor and sat next to Mia on the sofa. She reached over and put a pillow between me and the armrest. Beethoven played over the store's speakers. She handed me an Americano. Drink didn't last long, as I swallowed the whole thing in about 20 seconds. Placed my empty mug next to hers on the coffee table. You watched me freaking out the whole time from in here, didn't you? I asked Mia. Yeah, that was intense. What'd she say to you? Pulling up the PDA, Mia bumped her hips into mine, moving closer. Come on, what'd she say? I'm staying with you. If I could help pay some stuff off. We are taking this shift and giving your mom the money. She also told me that she spilled sour milk in my locker. I glanced at an abstract painting of a crow pecking at a cucumber on the wall. I took the job on the device. Shift begins. You have 8 hours to take orders. At the end of the shift, you will return to the moment you got this PDA. Good luck, worker. We care. It chimed. She's letting you stay with us, Mia asked, shocked. In this dimension, I guess, I said, feeling as if I had slammed the door of the van again. She leaned over and hugged me, pressing her forehead into my waist. What are you doing? I asked. I'm having a moment. She fidgeted with the pillow not sitting flush. Shut up. She let go of me and sat back up. We're gonna figure all this out. This life stuff, aren't we? Yeah. I let my head rest on hers. I'm never leaving you again. I tapped on confirm. Now that your shift has started, you can take an order, it said. These orders are from regular customers who want a good old treat from the past. Don't forget to smile, and don't forget to say the Future Treats motto. Our motto is... The speakers crackled and hissed. I held the device away from my body, and we're gonna buy the van from your aunt. She hugged me again, which completely threw me off because this hugging usually wasn't a thing. Not after too long, a woman in her early 30s covered in awesome tattoos walked to the counter. She called out, Order 66. I hugged Mia tighter before getting up to grab the drink. That's mine. Stumbling drunk, Miss K saw out in the parking lot stood in front of me. They wore a red tie and a wrinkled white button-down dress shirt. That's not your coffee, kid, they said. It says it's my order on the PDA. I held up the device. The stranger held something of their own near my device, on top of it as I held it in my hand. Before I pulled it back, I heard something say, authenticated. I backed away, turning to Mia, who squinted at the stranger in the store. What did you do? I asked the stranger. The stranger ran to the counter and grabbed the coffee. Mia stood next to me. She held a sofa pillow and was ready to use it. What are you doing? Why? Why would you take her? The stranger asked, drooping their shoulders. How did they know who Mia was? They went on. I could throw this, you know. I'm being nice to you. which is nice of me after what you did to me. The drunk took a few steps back. They were moving towards the exit. What did I do to you? I don't know you. I put my hands on my pocket. Why do you think I look like you? They hissed. I peered into their familiar eyes. Why wouldn't you put a bag over your head at least? I asked. Other people in the coffee shop turned to us and watched us argue. The cool goth lady waved her hand. Whatever this is, get it outside, away from here. The drunk shook their head. I am you, in the future, from another dimension. But you should have known that by now. We got off on the wrong foot here. Let's all go talk things out. I have some hard things to say to you, but I'm going to set you straight. I know a great margarita place in 2019 with some specials. My heart sank. I couldn't believe what I heard. I'm like, I don't drink. I'm 18. You're joking with me, right? We don't. Thinking about their offer brought back a mental image of my mom into my head, her rummaging through the refrigerator for one last can of beer. The other me started patting their pockets with their other hand, as if they were looking for something. I have an ID that says you are of age. It's not even fake. Give me your phone and it's yours. Mia grabbed my clenched hand. Breathe, she said. The stranger went on. Can you stop being a sad little emo kid for 5 seconds, little Azami? I have things to do. My jaw clenched. That was on the package. Are you really calling us Azami now? Like you think that's a name that normal people use? What are you saying? Azami. I changed my name to Azami. I'm like, and the first choice you made in this Aurore-free life is to start calling yourself Azami. Cool. You're dumb. I'm getting out of here. They tightened their empty hands, but the to-go cup was gone. Run! I yelled to Mia, holding the coffee. We dashed out of the store. Azami ran after us but gave up. Instead, they raised their middle finger at me. Episode 3. 2 for 1. We got as far away as we could from the crazy old future me. My other thinking spot, the Neonopolis Outdoor Mall, was not far from the coffee shop. It felt like having a private space. We knew no one would be there. The place had only recently opened, but it already felt like a ghost town. We took the escalator up and got far enough away so we could see if future crazy me came looking for us. Did that happen? I asked. That video didn't say anything about this. Mia touched the blackened glass of a window of the former high-end fashion shop. The one with the puppet? No duh. Mia grabbed the PDA out of my left hand. The delivery date on this is 2022. Like, it doesn't expect us to stand here with coffee and wait around forever, does it? Where do we deliver this for money? Pocket computer thinks we have 15 minutes. We gotta figure this out fast. If we are time traveling, why is there a timer? She took the device from me and started pressing buttons. She's good at that. Oh, she said. We're supposed to be like going to school, huh? Screw math class. We can take the test for real after the shift ends. I stated. How much time is left on this? Here. She exhaled and pressed something. The PDA shook and hummed as loud as a jet engine. Turn it off, I freaked out. I can't stop it, she cried out. We saw a flash. Everything went dark. When we came to, we stood in an empty Neonopolis, which was normal. But we were standing in the dark on the wrong side of a dusty close sign. Only some of the neon lights that we recognized from 2002 still worked. Time travel device started speaking. Welcome to the year 2022. This PDA time travel trip has been sponsored by Elon's Cabbage. Satisfy that crunchy cabbage craving with the taste of Elon. Now verified. They use the cabbage when they barbecue your Mongolians? Got to get this delivered if we want that money. I grunted. The list of forbidden words? Oh, Snap, sorry. No, it's cool, I said. I struggle with the list of forbidden words too. We hurried out of the outdoor mall and onto Fremont Street. People walked around us. The casino lights flashed and slot machines clanked from a distance. Paint from a street artist's spray can sprayed into the air. The night air was warm and dry. A light show played on the Jumbotron screen above us. Music for more time blasted through the speakers hanging overhead. This is the future, huh? I asked. We stopped and looked around together, looking at all the lights and sights around us. If you think we weren't depressed, we'd all be impressed, like all, oh my god, we're in the future and stuff? I asked. Who has feelings anymore? I don't. Mia scoffed. Looks like they slapped a bunch of expensive stuff all over the buildings. I rolled up my sleeves. Wouldn't it be nice if we could enjoy cool moments like this? I breathed. Right. Let's find where we are taking this coffee to. Get that money. Above the front door was an enormous banner that read Fukuyu, and everyone had to walk under it to get into the store. She and I walked inside looking at the sign, shaking our heads. That sounds like somebody made a joke, but nobody got it, so they went with it, I said. She pointed at a poster on the window. An old lady with her thumb sticking up stood against a background of lilies. The poster read, Neighborhood Market, 50% off canned tuna day. Dr. Tanaka, I whispered in amazement. Did my therapist quit and buy a grocery store? I felt her hand on my shoulder. I don't want to be mean, but after meeting your future self, I know why. I need a drink. I paused. Water, not that kind of drink. I'm on it. She headed to the short fridges near the register, full of glass marble soda and other drinks. The order didn't say where we were taking the coffee, so we started looking around. Fukuyu Family Market had a bunch of weird stuff in it, mostly wrapped in rice paper and seaweed. The air smelled sweet from the bread baking at the back of the store. The woman at the register waved us down. Is that my last coffee? The woman loosely swung her arms. It should be order 66. Here you go, one last coffee. I handed her the order, trying to smile. Did I offend you? The clerk asked. That's how they smile, Mia said. She took a large sip, closing her eyes and tilting her head back. She slurped before drawing back and pushing air out of her mouth. That's the taste I've missed for 20 years. Makes me want to read some Sensei Yamao. This cost a lot of money for coffee, but piece of music to herself. This 2-for-1 deal was worth it. Mia grabbed my shoulder again. 2 for 1? Yeah, Azami delivered the other coffee 5 minutes ago at 9:35. I gave the first one to my boss. The water's as a tip. I'll cover you. Thanks again for the discount. What do you mean 2 for 1? My eyes turned to the time on the PDA. The time read 9:41. Mia dragged me away from the counter holding 2 giant plastic water bottles. It means we didn't make the delivery first. The device chimed as we walked out of the air-conditioned store into the hot parking lot. On the screen now appeared my name and Azami's name. Under mine showed $0. Azami's name had $2,000 under it. I pushed the screen almost to her face, knowing her vision sucks so she could see how much cash we lost. Let's take another order, she pointed. Find something big. A voice called out from inside the store, Azami! The store doors opened. I turned around to a shocked, older Japanese lady wearing a store uniform. Oh no, she sighed. You took that delivery job. Hi, Dr. Tanaka. I waved. You look great. She smirked at me and waved. Why are you hanging out with Mia? She asked, putting her hands on her hips. We're friends now. Mia deadpanned as we hugged. That the trauma bonded us or something. Tanaka blinked. Your trauma bonding. Yes. She closed one eye and tightened her lips. I don't do that anymore. I'm glad to see you've worked things out. For a minute. Hey, Aurore, tell your older self to move their van. It's been out front all month. I'm going to get it towed for them if they can't get it moving. My van? My words fumbled as they came out. I have a van? She pointed to the corner of the parking lot. I recognized something I had not seen on the way inside. Is that your Aunt Bianca's van? I asked. There, parked at the far end, taking up 2 spots, sat the brown hippie van. Supersized wheels, giant side windows. The van might as well have had a surfboard attached to the top. I peeked into the back window, walking around to the front of the vehicle. What's inside? Mia asked. The sun reflected off a card sitting on the front seat. I put my hand to my forehead. My license, I whispered. My wallet opened up with the DMV photo in plain view. My soul died a little. And my emotional support hoodie. The fabric had seen better days. Mia choked on her words. Why's your stuff in my van? She asked. I don't know. I felt my hands shake the more I thought about a future living in a parking lot. Where were my friends? Why didn't I have a family? I thought about finding a rock to break the window, but realized the door was unlocked. Also, it wouldn't right the wrong of the DMV photo. Mia stood, staring at her reflection in the passenger side mirror. My eyes turned to the back of the van. The back seat looked like a trash-themed adventure park. The seats had been removed, and off to the left side lay a sleeping bag on a mountain of clothes. To the right was a wall of stuff with a backpack I recognized. The one I had forgotten to take to school and had left in Mia's room. Do you see anything of mine? She asked. Are you sure it's Azami's? 'Cause you wouldn't buy this without me, right? Unless my aunt had to sell it for some reason. I'm not seeing anything that looks like yours. Where am I then? This is the joke universe. This isn't what's going to be happening in 21 years, is it? Me living out the back of a van? Where if nothing, is this all there is? Mia stuck out her hand. It's a little dramatic. We don't know anything. We don't know where other me is. Mia opened the passenger door and looked inside. She reached over and put the keys in the ignition. She tried to start the van. The engine didn't start, but instead made a clanking metal sound. She shrugged. I know that sound. A moment later, the hood popped, and she hit some car thing near the top. Now try it, she mumbled, returning back to the van. Her hand rose and her finger pointed towards the ignition. I turned the key. The engine started. The hood of the van closed shut. Mia looked at the entrance of the store. Hey, Dr. Tanaka, you don't need a tow truck. Dr. Tanaka stood on the sidewalk, looking on, almost lost. She held up her thumb. Finally, she almost chuckled. You might want to get out of here if you're wanting to go on a joyride. She nodded at the vehicle. Mia jumped in and closed the door. What do you mean? I exclaimed. I can't live in a van. This isn't what I wanted at all. So, Mia shrugged. We have to change this. I don't know what this is, but I don't like it. We've watched those movies. All this stuff is impossible to change. Someone ends up dying or someone learns some bull lesson. She waved me into the van. I did as she wanted and climbed into the passenger side. Salmon, like the fish. An audiobook played through the beat-up side speakers. She turned it off. It won't matter what happens in the future or whatever. This is a different dimension. Once we end the shift, with this van full of money, we can do whatever we want. Mia shifted and began to roar out of the parking lot. The vehicle stopped near Dr. Tanaka, who waved at us. Mia stuck her head out the window. Hey, Dr. Tanaka yelled. Take it easy on yourselves. Mia stuck up her thumb out the window for her ex-therapist to see, then sped out of the parking lot. As the van drove down the road, I looked at the orders on the device. She pointed. Let's find the easiest one. Can you watch the road? I barked. I am. I'm side-eyeing it. You're not side-eyeing it. You are looking. The road is there, and the van is headed to the other side there. Seeing where we were in the road, I covered my hands with my eyes. It pulled the van back into the lane so hard that my shoulder bumped against the side door a little. Fine, like you're a better driver. You could say something, you know. We listened to the tape playing in silence. An order came across the PDA. Hey, that's your address. Our address. I mean, your mom. Your future mom must be ordering something. If other me shows up, we can ambush them. The order was for a sandwich from a mushroom pizza place we go to from 2001. The retro oceany setup was cool, but the music they played annoyed both of us. It was the kind of music that would sound a lot better in a car wash than it did over the speakers. Other you didn't look like they liked me, she went on. I bet older you won't even take this order, even if the bonus is for $5,000. Mia, I stopped, took a deep breath. My future self is I can't think of anything nice, with short, ugly hair. But you're always going to be awesome. She's like, I kind of like the short hair on you. I stared at her for a second in disbelief. Instead of saying something, feeling a fight coming on, I looked back to the PDA. Sponsored order? I stared down. This is after we complete this, we can do sponsored orders for more money. Sponsored by whom? How much more is more money? I don't know, but we should find out. I accepted the order, and Mia made a left turn, driving towards the pizza shop. After picking up the sandwich in 2001, we returned to Mia's house in 2022. The house looked the same, other than it looked like it could have used a coat of paint. I noticed the light flickered now, which I don't remember it doing the last time in 2002. The gravel in the front yard looked thinner as well, as it had been unkempt. She walked to the door and tried to open it. The knob wouldn't turn. She turned her key, but the key didn't fit. She banged on the wood. Yo, it's me. We got a sandwich. After a bit, we heard footsteps from the other side. Mia took a step forward, but stopped. Like she didn't believe her own eyes. I expected Miss K to come out of the house, but she didn't. A stranger stood there, dressed in nice going-out clothes. Who are you? Mia asked. You have my food? Yeah, I said. When the second one's getting here, I got a party started and I owe my sister-in-law a sandwich too. Have you tried these? These are good. Does anyone else live here? Does my mom live here? Mia asked. I don't know you, she replied. Do you know who lived here before? No. The stranger seemed uneasy. We bought it in an estate sale 20 years ago. I'm going to eat this now. Good night. She closed the door. We walked away from the house. We stood looking down at the shadows cast by the flickering light. Mia's eyes narrowed. She covered her face with her hands. This isn't real, is it? What happened? Her body rocked back and forth. She folded her arms. I knew what that meant. I handed her the CD player in my hoodie pocket. She put them on and turned up the volume. Crickets chirped. After a few minutes, the roaring from the nearby highway had stopped. She took off the headphones. I took the CD player back. I crossed my arms on my hoodie. How can we fix this? This isn't something people can fix, is it? I asked. Why isn't my mom here? Mia bowed her head. What happened? We'd never sell that house. Had I failed Miss K? The thought punched me in the gut. I looked through the jobs on the device. I found one. I held the phone to Mia's face. Look at the amount on this order. She squinted. Her eyes widened at the number on the screen. Instead of watching Mia drive the clunky van, I checked my watch, which was useless. Time traveling between dimensions is confusing. Is that what jet lag feels like, I wonder? She parked the van, and I pulled up the order. On the screen, we found 2 tickets, front row seats, which the device printed out for us. The delivery notes instructed us to wait in the seats until further notice. Not 2 seconds after parking, I see a familiar jerk coming at us from the other side of the parking lot. Their walk seemed to be more stumbly this time. "Hey, you stole my van. I had to take a stranger's car here. How did you get it running?" "I do not want to talk to you, Azami," I yelled out the window. "Azami!" They pounded on the back. We got out of the van. "How did you know where we were?" I asked. I could smell the weekend 24 pack on my breath still. "What happened to me?" Mia asked my future self. "In the future, why is somebody else living in my house?" "You might have moved. It's been years." My future self suggested cold, rehearsed. They quickly peered into the back of the vehicle. "We tell each other everything. Why wouldn't you tell me this?" Mia asked. A zombie looked up and threw their hands up in frustration. "There's a lot of things that aren't the way I want them. But I can't change any of that. Wish I could." Tried. "You were going to tell me everything," I demanded. "Not doing anything you asked me to do there, Littlefoot." They laughed. I took a step closer to them. "I'm not asking." "I can't. I'm sorry." "Apology loop," I reminded myself. "I'm not bound by your rules." Mia threw her hands in the air. "I can't deal with 2 of you. I need a moment." "I'll be right there. I'm going to." Before I could finish talking, she reached inside my hoodie pocket and pulled out the CD player. "I super need these right now," which I knew. "Give me back my keys." Azami pointed at Mia. "You can pry them from my cold dead fingers." She spoke, putting in the earbuds. She hurried inside. "The hell you doing, dude?" I pushed my future self. What are you even doing? With life, what is wrong with you?" Dude, we. Don't go pinning all this on me," they bickered. "We are the same person, and I'm enforcing your boundaries as Dr. Tanaka taught us, that we agreed to. Well, maybe not you, but one of you." "I didn't agree to anything. And it's Dr. Tanaka," I exclaimed. "Ahōdayo," they yelled. I guess they called me a slut or something. They went on. I hoped they wouldn't follow me inside. But after the ticket people let me in, I heard Azami running behind me. I tried to ditch them, but they were relentless. We found ourselves both walking through crowds of people, decked out in team gear, in the outer part of the stadium. "Why are you following me?" I asked as they ran after me. "We're not giving you the van back." "It's fun. I'm being hella nice to you. I hope you're understanding that." "You're being hella nice? Let me tell you about some hella good, not good things I learned about myself in the past few hours." My eyes looked to where Azami had been, but they were no longer there. I searched around and found my future self standing in the line at the concession stand. "What the hell are you doing now?" "I don't have to tell you, but it's your birthday, right?" I face-palmed. "You're celebrating for me, aren't you? With a beer. Or something in a vodka, maybe," they said. They made a face and stuck out their hand. "Talk to the hand. I'm not like mom, you know." So I did the free willy and motioned with my left hand as if my hand were a whale leaping over Azami's. It's a thing I did when people did the whole talk to the hand thing. Azami narrowed their eyes at me. "That's like rude. We're gonna beat you to this order." I jabbed a finger at their chest. "Good luck." They leaned over to see what was taking the line so long. As soon as I found my seat, Mia grabbed my CD collection I kept in my emotional support hoodie pocket. She flipped through all the CDs in the case. "Is this all you brought? You stole my entire dream life, but you can't bring a CD I like?" Mia frowned. I froze, thinking of all the things I could say. "My bad." I sat down. I didn't mean to snap. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Are you having junior high cheerleading flashbacks?" She straightened up and pulled back her hair from her headphones, about to yell. "You're in my seat," I heard a voice say. I turned to tell them that they were mistaken, but you've already figured out it was a-hole. "Mia's in your seat," I said. They scoffed at me.
What?
She asked. "Zamie's being a jerk," I told her. Future me waved their arms in the air, trying not to spill their beer. "Yeah, I'm the big scary monster, I get it, kid," they mocked. "I'm the ghost of future you." They laughed an evil laugh. They found it funny, I guess. "Don't call me kid," I told them. "Why are they here?" She pointed at my other self with a look of disgust. "That's how this works," Azami said. She changed the track on the CD player. Music played over the stadium speakers. "Las Vegas Looters versus the Phoenix Hawk Commanders. This game has been sponsored by Future Treats. We got you at Future Treats. Meet our Future Treats trained professionals who are squaring off for you as a treat." Realizing everyone in the stadium could see you in your emotional support hoodie was not cool. I tried to smile for everyone watching the jumbo TVs, but I looked mad again. "The winner, who signed a waiver, will get $2 million if they win. No rules." $2 million? That wasn't what the order amount was for. I turned to Mia, who stood. I sighed. This is the weirdest birthday ever. "Shut up and do something already." Azami bared their teeth. Azami held the guardrail, looking at the giant green tray of a field. Something began to fall down from the ceiling of the stadium, a briefcase on a rope lowered to almost the 50-yard line. "Are you ready?" The crowd around us cheered. I noticed Azami bending their elbows. I recognized the look, determination. "First person to get the briefcase back to their seat wins. Good luck, Future Treat employees." A horn blew. We heard hooting and hollering. I turned to run down to a gate allowing you field access, but I looked back to see if a zombie followed me. They hadn't. They had jumped the rail and were running across the field into a tunnel. I lost sight of them after they ran in. I turned to Mia, but she wasn't in her seat. I looked back to the field and saw her running towards the case. She ran through the cheerleading squads. Both teams looked at the competition, confused. My foot slipped on the railing. I regained my footing but saw my other self run back out of the tunnel holding a ladder. "What is this?" I yelled. I jumped down to the field. My feet moved towards Mia, who now stood at the 50-yard line looking for some way to get up. She turned towards me. Azami ran behind her, holding the ladder high, as if they meant to swing with it. I screamed. Mia squinted at me but turned. My other self swung the ladder towards her face. She dropped to the ground. The ladder missed the top of her head by inches. The crowd cheered. "Doing, Azami?" I yelled, charging at myself.
Winning.
They said. I looked in all directions, trying to find something to help my friend out with. I had to have something. I couldn't keep standing there useless. With my mind blank, I tackled my future self at the knees. They threw a fist. She had found a way to stand the ladder up. She leaped up and grabbed a suitcase, but the ladder shook. A zombie had thrown me against the metal. I planted my feet, trying to not knock the ladder over. I glanced up and saw her climbing with the case in hand. They came at me again, pushing me back, sending the ladder to the ground. Mia landed on her feet, like she had practiced landing all those times back in cheer practice. She dashed towards the seats where we had been sitting. She tried to dodge through the cheerleaders as a zombie approached her, as if they were a hunter stalking prey through a forest of cheerleaders. I went for a tackle, but my future self pushed me down to the ground. A zombie reached for Mia, who climbed partly up the railing. She stretched out with one hand. She swung the briefcase up and grabbed the railing. It fell to the ground into a zombie's hands. Her sneakers landed on the floor below our seats on the level above. A zombie climbed up. Mia grabbed at their hand to steal the victory, but she stopped. Instead, she crossed her arms and stepped back. My hands reached out to pull Azami down, but it was too late. Before I could get back to the row above, they sat down with all the money. "We have a winner!" they announced over the speakers. Mia, with their hands folded, sat, panting from having skipped out on PE class too many times. I returned to my seat. My other self held the case tight. It reminded me of one of those nature films where some animal held on to the dead things in their mouth, all proud or whatever. "Dude, you almost hit her," I accused. "What were you thinking? Why would you?" "You could have killed me, Azami." Mia sat wide-eyed. "You were gonna hit me." "No, I pretended to hit you. I wouldn't," they said. "I don't have to answer you." They looked over at Mia. "Or you." They sat up, adjusting the briefcase across their chest. "I keep starting a new shift every time I get back to the store. I've been doing this a while. I know how to win." "No." Her hand shook with disappointment. "You look like you've hit me before. You've seen other me's and Aurore's." "Don't worry about it." They leaned forward in their padded stadium seat. I leaned closer. "What happens to the losers of this game, shift, whatever this is? The ones who don't get to the reset point, what happens?" As Amy didn't answer. "Everyone who doesn't make the reset point is okay. Then the company gives out cupcakes and giant hugs to all. They care, don't worry about it." "Every shift you do this over and over?" I asked. "Told you when I first met you I was planning on being the one to get out of here, and nothing that you did mattered. One of you anyways. Let's get out of here." I threw my head back. "Yes." You stood up. "I'll meet you outside." "See you, gatekeeper." They waved. I stood up and shook my head. "Are you going to sit here? We don't have a lot of time left on this shift. I got what I need. I'm good. If I don't see you again like peacefully, good luck." They slurred their syllables. "Screw you too." I walked away. I almost left the stadium, but a video ad in the food area caught my eye. "Have drinks delivered to your seat." I looked towards the field. Helmets clanked and the whistle blew. Fans cheered. "Hey," I yelled to a woman bending a cart. "What's the strongest drink you got?" I asked. They looked at me. "You got ID?" I ordered Azami something strong called a mind eraser. "Seat 111. Tell them I said happy birthday. Put as much booze in it as you can." I handed the woman a $20 bill and walked away. Episode 4. A what limit? Mia sat in the driver's seat looking through the clutter of tapes. She looked deep in thought. The van door slammed. She winced. Now sitting beside her, I noticed on the PDA we had $5,000. "I don't drop things. Why did I drop?" She started to say something else, but she couldn't. I paused. "Please don't be sad." I shifted in my seat. "We can take what we made back to your mom." She hit the steering wheel. "You can't listen to anything I say. I don't understand Aurore. Why don't I get to know what happens to future me? Where's my future mom? Why is future you so? Other me takes shifts. We beat them there. We can do this job whenever we want." My seatbelt clicked. "The one where everyone gets cupcakes? Are you kidding me with this? Do you understand what is happening? You're not beating them. You're killing them. We need to hurry. None of this matters. Now when the timer ends, we got to get back to that reset point before." Mia began to turn the key but stopped. "You aren't understanding me, Aurore," she exploded. "Future you doesn't care anything about me. At all. You don't care about anything. Not even yourself. Fix this. We can work on the issues between us. With this job, we can make money whenever we want, and I'm supposed to be okay watching you kill yourself to work an 8-hour shift over and over? I thought we were getting better, but how can we? When you're over there having an identical dimension deathmatch with yourself. For what? Future you can't be poor. If resetting destroys the entire dimension, you are a zombie, the destroyer of worlds, dude. Thanos has nothing on your body count. Yeah, I don't know why the future me does anything, but I don't think future me means to suck. I'm still lost. When I'm lost, I do things to try to keep myself stable. You taught me how to cope. I I think older me hurts. Neither of us spoke. She hit the eject button on the tape in the cassette player. She looked at the handwritten label. Hand flipped the tape around to show me the name written. Coffee and pizza mix. We need to get going. We looked into each other's eyes. We gotta beat traffic if we want to get this money back to my mom. After that, I don't know. My heart sank. Don't talk like that, I pleaded. Mia tried to start the van. The hell? Mia examined the keys. She tried again, twisting. We heard no clicking or any other engine-y noise. Oh no. Pop the hood, I motioned to the front. My door slammed and I went around to check, but the PDA buzzed in my pocket. Mia noticed and grabbed the release thing instead. Buzz. A new message appeared on the screen. The text box read, "Hi." I got an instant message. I showed her the device. The van's battery is gone. Other you must have taken it out when you went inside. PDA started to ring like a telephone. Mia crossed over behind me and looked over my shoulder. Oh my god, what's going on now? The device wouldn't stop buzzing in my hands. Something on this device broke at the game. We're gonna die. Wait, why does this box say answer? I showed the buzzing thing to her. Does this thing work like a phone too? She asked. That's horrible. People can call me anytime they want. I swiped right and heard myself through the phone. Thanks for the Long Island or whatever, Azami said. I don't think it worked like you were hoping. You're not going anywhere though. I hid the battery near the stadium somewhere. Good luck finding it, you two. Beep. The call ended. When the hell did I learn to take a battery out? I kicked the front left tire. The phone buzzed and sounded like a cowbell. The 8 hours is up. The shift is complete. Please make your way to the reset point now. Thank you. We panicked, looking around in all directions. I tried to figure out where older me might have put an entire battery. I spotted a garbage can nearby. I ran to it and looked inside, digging around nachos, beer cans. No battery. She had bent down, looking underneath all the cars. There's nothing here. Who knows where that nutcase hit that thing? The reset point in the PDA is close to Neonopolis. We both ran as fast as we could away from the parking lot, sprinting into the nearest casino. We had passed the slot machines and the flower display and found our way back onto the strip. We spotted a cab waiting on the curb. Mia stopped me before I climbed into the cab. Do you have any money? Not with me. I spent everything on booze. I turned back to the driver. Can we pay the fare with the phone? A driver wearing a baseball cap scoffed. My machine's broken. There's no money left either. Did we check the back seat for the battery? I asked. We turned to run back to the stadium parking lot. That's it, I yelled. Into a cabbage store, leaving the van running in the street. Thankfully, Mia knew how to install the battery that had clearly had been sitting in the back seat. Getting out of the stadium, that traffic hadn't been so bad since Mia used the sidewalks. She didn't run anyone over or anything, but we did break some traffic laws. Since the dimension was about to end and everyone was about to die, we figured it'd be okay. The store was just a store with cabbage. They all looked the same to me. Red and green, shelves lined with boxes of Elon's cabbage, all with the same logo. Throughout the store, they played strange futuristic music. People don't actually shop here, right? Mia chewed on her lip. We heard a lady in the back of the store call out to us, "You have arrived." I guessed it to be the goggle lady. She looked younger than I thought, wearing a shirt and a tie with black slacks. She didn't look at us. She read what looked like an employee handbook. "Kid!" We turned around. A zombie stepped out of a cab. "Don't get any further. Don't get any closer to the back room." They slurred their words, walking towards me. I reached for the nearest head of cabbage and whacked a zombie across the face as hard as I could. They fell to the ground. I kept hitting them. The device fell. Mia leapt and picked it up. "Seriously, dude?" A zombie stood up. "This is how we're doing this?" Cabbage flew and smacked a zombie on the face. Perfect headshot. "What, my other me's you killed haven't fought back?" The cabbage I helped broke on their head. Mia picked up another cabbage. The young lady didn't look fazed by any of the fighting. She kept looking over the employee handbook, as if she had seen this kind of thing before. I kicked my future self in the knee and hit them on the head with a red cabbage. I reached for a giant shelf that had a lot of cabbage boxes. Pulling with all my weight, I sent the heavy shelf crashing on Azami. Chunks of green and brown flew everywhere, falling on top of them. Mia pushed another shelf. A zombie's foot kicked, trying to free themselves of the boxes and the cabbage. We sprinted towards the back. I slammed the door and I locked it. We heard a voice from outside. "Hey, you didn't pay your cab fare." An angry Mia crossed her arms. We found a few boxes off to the side. "You don't think the cab driver's gonna help my other self, do you?" Something felt like I was standing on the wrong side of the door. That annoying voice in your head that tells you not to walk into oncoming traffic was screaming at me not to do what I was doing. I didn't listen. In the middle of the room sat a large duffel bag, stuffed as full as it could get. On top, a bulb stuck out. It lit up green. Her squinting eyes found two red boxes on a shelf not far from the back exit. "Look at this. It says Zombie's Future Treats vouchers." She lifted the paper promises into the air and tilted her head in confusion. "Is the ice cream scoop puppet going to redeem them for us?" I asked. "Let's find out." She poured the coupons into my cabbage container. While she switched the vouchers inked with gold text, my fingers unzipped the plastic slider. USB sticks of yellow and red, along with hundreds of dollars of bills, burst from the zipper teeth. I held up one of the bills to the light above and saw the raised printed watermark. The embedded strip ran down along the length of the bill. Lifting up the handle, I saw the words "Property of Future Treats." A USB stick and a necklace with a large medallion-shaped blue diamond surrounded by a bunch of other colorless rocks fell to the floor. These aren't vouchers. But why the USB sticks? Those cost a ton. After picking up the necklace, I placed it around Mia's neck. The light on the duffel bag turned red. "Please return company property." An electronic voice from within the bag seemed to speak. "It is the employee's responsibility to return the company earnings with the money and tracking data intact." I put the necklace back in the bag. "I can't have nice things." "How do we get out of here?" Mia said. I took a step away from the bag and paused. "Wait." I turned around, thought about my future self, trapped in boxes of Elon's cabbage. We should think about this. What's there to think about? Mia held out her hands in confusion. "I didn't make it in here to have a say in this. Why are you doing this now? This is the answer to all of our problems. I don't feel good about this." Thinking of my future self on the other side of the room. "Come on," she nodded. "Sometimes you got to tough things out." Almost over. My palm held the box of Elon's cabbage. I took the duffel bag. "Let's do this." I hesitated, hoping a zombie would be able to get out of those shelves. However, no one came. If I hadn't been like my mom, my future self might have fought it, but I couldn't fight. The feeling didn't stop. I tapped on the PDA. "You don't deserve anything anyways," I told myself. Hit confirm to reset and return home with your earnings, a voice said from the device. Something wasn't right. The sound was off. The crackling noise had returned. It hummed and clanked. The phone zapped my hand. I felt it, deep in my skin, burning. Please reduce weight, the device demanded. Cannot reset with the amount of weight detected. Maybe this isn't supposed to be a two-person job, I asked. How do we reduce the weight? Do we take out some of the money? Nope. Mia took off her shoes and threw them across the room into a cabbage box. I did the same thing with my shoes, missing the box. Take off your clothes. I panicked. I promised your mom I wouldn't take my clothes off for money. She threw her watch, the socks off her feet. I took off the comfort hoodie, which must have been weighing us down a lot. We took off all the clothes we could bear to take off, everything but sports bras and boy shorts. I hit the reset button. It shocked us again. We need to leave our share of the money, I realized. I can't do that to my mom. I can't. This might be the only chance I get with whatever's happened in this messed up future. I won't. Take some of it, I reasoned. She paced, thinking. She turned around and turned her attention to something on the ground. My eyes followed her gaze. She turned around. A zombie's PDA. My mouth curved into an O shape. The screen looked exactly like mine, with the button ready to be pressed to return us home, to reset us. We can hit the buttons at the same time. That has to up our weight limit or whatever, wouldn't it? Mia said. A loud thud came from the outside door. Somebody pounded from the other side. We have to do this, she said. It's the only way to stop yourself from hurting you, if nothing else. We pressed the reset button on the screen at the same time. Congratulations on winning your shift. You win! Betty burst into the air. A rumbling sounded off in the distance. The device roared and crackled louder. I heard my future self cry out from the other room. A zombie had broken down the door. They stood, looking at me, devastated. My vision turned blurry until I saw the familiar spins of light circling towards a dark hole. Only now there were two black holes on opposite sides of each other. I could hardly see, but Mia came into focus, holding onto a zombie's PDA in the air. She headed towards a different dark hole thing than I did. Then I saw a flash. She was gone. Flames engulfed wherever I was. My future self screamed in pain. Things got cold. Welcome back to your timeline, the PDA said. This reset has been sponsored by Bob's Apples. Have a free apple on us. No. I found a way to stand up. The van sat in the roundabout with the engine and headlights on. I held the duffel bag and the box of money. Mia was not there. Bob knows apples like how the sunset knows the Grand Canyon, the PDA continued. Hey, I heard a voice say, it's on me, Chandler. The worker from the cabbage store stood on the sidewalk nearby. Yes, I'm Aurore Chandler, I answered. I'm here to pick up the duffel bag. She rubbed her thumb across her fingers, waiting for me to comply. Congrats on winning the shift. Where's my friend? Future Treats is not responsible for lost items. Hand over the bag, please. I paused. No. I want my friend back. And my other self. You should have picked better. She grabbed the bag out of my hands. Thank you for working for Future Treats. What kind of sick game was this? After rolling the van back into the cave garage, I stepped out and put the keys in my pocket. I adjusted the money box and slammed the van door. Again, because I can't do a single thing right. But I wasn't thinking. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe. Miss Kay rushed in from the kitchen, in the black nightgown as she had before. Vari? What are you doing in my garage with Bianca's van? Where's Mia? I gasped. I thought to myself, hold it together, Aurore. Hold it together. Mia is gone. There's a way to fix this. Wait. But other Miss K is dead. I bit my lip to avoid crying. Aurore? Aurore, I need you to speak to me. What are you doing here? The real Miss K said. I don't know, I swear. Those eyes. I know those eyes. She had those wild bear eyes. And that wild bear was holding a spoon. What happened? What's inside the box in your hand? I gave it to her. You don't have to go to work anymore. Mia wanted to make sure of that. She wanted it for you. What do you mean? I choked. What do you do with that? This PDA sucks and Mia got lost in time because I'm dumb and I let her choose this, but we got a free apple? There's no way of explaining that horrifying situation to any kind of normal person. But this wasn't a normal thing going on. Aurore! She took a step towards me. Is this some kind of prank? Sour milk in a locker is one thing, but this is theft. We could press charges. How did you get in here? How did you get the keys? Did you take them? I tried to think what to do next, but I had nothing. This is when I had asked Mia what to do. But I couldn't. I had an overwhelming thought. Had I ever known what to do on my own? Do I not make my own choices and stuff? I thought long and hard, realizing I had to tell her. I had no other choice. Aurore! Miss K looked at the strange object I held in my hands. Or not. I didn't know what or not meant at the time, but I picked it. To my shock, though, pressing start shift on screen did nothing. My finger jabbed at the start text over and over, trying to start a shift. It didn't work. I have to go. Keep the money, I said. Where is she? She asked. I looked into her eyes. That's where those specks come from. I'm sorry. Miss K ran after me as I left the open garage, but I ran away into the dark on foot, with nowhere to go. I tried to sleep for a while in the park behind some bushes after everyone had left the glow party. Most of the time I laid there thinking about how Mia wasn't coming to save me. Looking across the desert, I tried to count how many colors I could see as the sun rose. Not many. My eyes suck pretty bad. I knew I should have been doing something to better my situation or whatever, but I didn't. I sat there, like a zombie did. I kind of felt I understood them better, even though how they were living was iffy's a nice way to put it. I stood up from the ground. The lights all flickered behind me and stuff. I headed to the bus stop down the street. Episode 5. There are no cupcakes. Class chatter echoed through the halls of the school. Paper pumpkins and witches swayed on clips from the ceiling. Most of the kids had been herded like cattle between classes already. I used my hand to comb my hair as I walked towards locker 88B, an ugly steel locker, chip blue paint and bits on it so tiny that it's hard to leave a note in it. We couldn't figure out how to get the notes out, so we had left a few of them. It blocked the sour milk and the candy pumpkin smell from the outside world, if nothing else. I turned the combination to 012475 and the locker creaked open. My nostrils flared at the sour smell. I picked up a case and a $10 bill I had in there. I flipped through the album. Next time I see you, I'll have a CD you like, I thought. Mia wasn't gone. She's just not there. I needed to find a way to take another shift. I needed to bring her back. If she was alive. I went to put the CD case in my hoodie pocket, but I wasn't wearing my hoodie. The one thing that always comforted me was now gone. Something I didn't recognize lay on top of a bunch of crumpled notebook paper. I picked up a flyer and pencil shavings fell out onto the laminate floor. The flyer read, "Hello, winner. Come work with us again. Find an Elon's cabbage to recharge your PDA. Why did the flyer have quotes around PDA? My other self had called it a phone. I found myself missing that other person I had lost. Elon's cabbage was not a thing I ever remembered before any of this crazy stuff started happening. I assumed the location might be the same place in 2002. Dug around in the locker. I thought I had had some onion-dipped chips in there, but I didn't. Aurore, you're supposed to be in class. Get going. I heard from behind me. Yeah, no, Miss Trinity, I said. Get out of a job that devalues you as a person. That way they can take whatever they want from you. School didn't seem to work out for me either, so I'm out. A voice came across the intercom. Aurore Chandler, please come to the front office. I looked outside. 2 police cars drove into the parking lot. Yep, I'm not doing that. Miss Trinity stood between me and the other exit. You're coming with me. Like, no. My fingers clenched around the CD case. I kept walking. Miss Trinity followed. Don't take another step. Trust me, Miss Trinity, what I'm doing with right now, you do not want any part of. Miss Trinity grabbed me by the arm. Let's go. Can you, not? I ripped my arm out of her hold. She came at me to grab my arm again, and I ran. All the way to the end of the hall. Our steps echoed. I reached to the exit and pushed against the lever thingy, and I continued running. I headed back towards the bus stop. Miss Trinity stood, watching me run. It's not working because you need to charge before you can take another shift, the employee explained. I found the Future Treats sign up on Fremont Street. I've recognized the woman as the employee from the reset point. She looked like she hadn't slept in ages. You made money, right? If I made as much as you did, I'd invest it. Why would you take another shift? Why haven't you worked a shift? I asked. You can't take a job without facing an older or younger you. Having to look in my face and say, I'm here for the money, Brooke. I couldn't do it to myself. Could you? Oh, yeah, you could, huh? Something in her eyes made me think she had often thought of the scenario. She brushed back the hair in her neck and went on. No, thanks. Well, if you want to take another shift, I can charge the phone for you. It's going to take a while, though. Like a minute. She shuffled papers on the desk before taking the PDA from my hands. With a flick of her wrist, she flung up the phone over her shoulders, which clunked against a metal pan at the bottom of a bin. How do I find my friend? You don't. The Future Treats employee shrugged. That dimension is destroyed. Gone. Everyone is dead. You can't go back to it. I killed everyone. She nodded. I have no words to describe what I felt realizing the pain I caused. I put my feelings aside. They weren't in that dimension. She pressed the device at the same time I did. She drifted into another, I don't know what, somewhere far from me. You're talking about the light show after you get sucked in. Your friend is in another dimension. Did you restart your device yet? Brooke leaned in a little, now interested. Her ears perked. I don't know what a restart is. Phone kept talking about cabbage. That's good. Kind of. As long as you didn't see a flash. I did, I said. Brooke looked down. Well, assuming she's alive out there, your odds of finding your friend in an identical dimension are better, but not great. The device looks at the recent locations in the RAM to determine which data farm or dimension to send the worker to. It helps the delivery algorithm pick more stable universes. The bin the lady had thrown my phone in lit up red. She frowned. Actually, this phone's battery is toast and needs to be replaced. But when I cut the power, it kills the memory in the RAM. I could try to pull that dimensional location point from the RAM, but the data is fragile, since it is stored in a temporary drive. The device generates an incredible amount of possible dimension location points. This clogs up the temporary RAM. Each point a certain identical dimension the companies buy and use to farm data. And other reasons you do not want to know about. So the RAM is full because of this all the time. Each DLP goes for billions, note billions of dollars at auction. So the phone spits out some insane number of codes looking for this DSL. The RAM is too small for the device, so transferring this risks losing the location of your friend. In fact, it's not going to happen if you have to transfer data onto a different device. If that happens, it's over. You lost me after toast. Is the phone slightly toasted where it's boring or it's sticking to the top of your mouth? But do you want the toast or not? Because you can start to shift on it and you might be able to make it back to the dimension your friend is in, but not on that phone's battery. Not an 8-hour shift. Unluckily, I know a solution. Brooke bit her lip. It's going to suck. Hold on to your butts. Brooke typed something in on my phone. Are you sure you want this? If you do, future treats can't send anyone to save you. I can't leave her behind. I promised, I said. A weak answer for what you have to do, but sure. I'm going to have to switch some settings to help you out. I ask one favor on condition that this works. I will present it to you at a later time. Is this acceptable? Anything. She shrugged. After doing more typing, she handed the phone to me. Deal. Phone only charges halfway. You can't replace the batteries or recharge when you started a shift. I've helped your odds by changing some of the settings and cutting the shift in half, but you're going to be cutting it close. I would avoid checking your cabbage feed, but don't tell them I told you. And don't pay for verification. In my opinion, it's a scam. I squeezed the PDA so tight my hands turned white. I'll figure something out. Thanks, Burke, I said. I walked out of the store and back out onto the busy strip. I sat on the bus listening to a screamo metal band on the CD player, cranked to 10. The bus jostled back and forth as I held onto the handrail. I saw row after row of stucco housing until finally I saw Mia's house. I jumped off the bus onto the pavement. After taking a deep breath, I looked towards the house. How would I find Mia after I started the shift? A feeling of dread came over it. I didn't know if I would come back. I didn't know if I should come back. But if she was alive out there, I wasn't going to leave her. Here we go. I walked closer to the house. I started to press start shift, but the door opened. I stood face to face with Miss K. What are you doing here, Rory? Miss K looked down on my shirt pocket, which held me a CD case. Where did you get that? I'm going to get her. I'm going to be back real soon. I got this. My fingers were red as I gripped the phone. Tell me, she screamed. My shoulders hung. You won't believe me. You're hiding something. I could hardly speak. My future self got involved in a stupid time travel scam. We earned a bunch of money for you, for us. I beat myself over the head with cabbage. But we couldn't take everything we won. She didn't make it. But I'm going back to get her. I don't think you're well, she said. Actually, that's not what she said. I won't say what she said, but you get the idea. It's the truth, Miss K. I messed up, but I can fix it. Tell me the truth. She made a mad dash towards me, charging at me as if I were a rodeo clown. I pressed start shift. The PDA sounded up like a roaring dial-up, a noise it hadn't made before. On the top right of the screen, a battery icon flashed. Picture showed the battery less than half full. This will be the reset point you return to, the device reminded me. Miss K grabbed my shirt and pulled me towards her. I tried to run, but she wouldn't let me go. PDA swirled and puttered. I screamed, "Get away from me!" Confetti burst out of the device and landed on the ground. The cosmic light show that Brooke had talked about began again. My vision went black. My stomach got sick. Something grabbed at me. My eyes adjusted as I turned. Miss K and I both drifted towards the dimension. I found myself at the entrance of Mia's house again, arriving in the new identical dimension. The doorknob wouldn't turn no matter how hard I pushed. I turned to a stunned Miss K who stood on the lawn with her jaw dropped. Well, I guess as if she had time traveled. Something began to play through the phone. Thank you for choosing to work for Future Treats. This shift has been sponsored by New Fun Dip Burgers. We changed the recipe and dipped the fun back into our burgers. Still for 2 for $20, but order now and get a third one for only $10 more. Must not wait for the Fun Dip Burger. No refunds. All crimes committed in an identical parallel universe are deemed imaginary by the law in the U.S. I don't know who's inside the house, but I need your help. I began pounding on the door, hoping. I kicked so hard I lost feeling in my bare feet. Someone. Aurore. Miss K cried, running to me. Why did I get teleported a few inches away from where I was? This is a new identical dimension. I need one of us to understand what's going on here, Miss K. We both can't be clueless. I kept pounding. The door opened. Hand bracelets rattled. It was Mia. Kind of. This Mia wore about 70 million necklaces around her neck as if that were the coolest thing ever. Her long blonde hair hung below her shoulders. Ew, she said. Are you Aurore's sibling or something? Miss K's knees looked like they were about to buckle. I turned back to the younger Mia. What year is it? What year is it? Miss K interjected. It's 2002. What do you mean, what year is it? Junior high Mia looked at me in confusion. Her right hand gripped around strands of hair as it were a Tamagotchi. She squinted. Is that you, Mom? Why are you here? You're supposed to be in Phoenix for 2 weeks. You look tired. Thanks. I haven't had to travel to Phoenix for business since 1998, Miss K said. Mia looked at her mother confused. Yeah, you do. You go there all the time. You get fired? Junior high Mia said. Are you taking me to the party? 1998 was so long ago, I told Miss K. Why is younger Mia standing in my house? There's only one of me, Junior high Mia said. I don't get it. Why is everyone freaking out? Sure, I said, trying not to confuse her. I guess that was a confusing response, but whatever. I walked away from the front door and pulled out the PDA. How did I end up in 1998? It didn't matter. Maybe she would be in the year this all started. I didn't know how things worked, and I didn't care. I found an order from 2002, and I tapped on it to accept it. PDA spoke. Error 5C23WU0U. Please authenticate your PDA before accepting an order. Miss K gawked. What have you gotten us into, Aurore? Aurore? Little Mia said. My lips sucked inwards in confusion. What am I doing? The PDA showed a photo of the 2 PDAs being held together with the heart between them. Authenticate. Which, like, gross, right? I don't have another PDA, I said. Oh my God. I don't have another PDA to authenticate with. Little Mia looked up to me with her hands on her hips. Why did Mom call you Aurore? Call me Azami or something. I don't know. That'll make it easier. I didn't look away from looking at the PDA. There had to be a way to locate another device. There had to be a way to make this crazy situation work. But what was I going to do with Miss K? I couldn't get myself and Mia out of the reset point. Now, at best, I tried not to think about it. I looked through everything I could on the phone, trying to figure out some way to get myself out of this mess. Till I found something. Find my phone, I blurted out, remembering what my future self had once said. I can find my phone on this thing to find Mia. Maria, little Mia, looked at me strangely. I'm right here. That's a hella weird thing for someone to say to someone. I ignored junior high Mia. I heard footsteps behind me. Miss K looked over my shoulder. Where's my Mia? Azami. Phone found, the PDA said. I screamed. I heeled over and hit my hands on my shins, which, by the way, held the PDA, and that hurt, but I stomped my foot on the ground repeatedly. Miss K and the other Mia backed away. That's my address, I said. It's my mom's address, my home. Oh, little Mia's all. Can someone tell me what's going on? Before I could figure out what to say, a familiar van drove in the Mia's driveway. Maria! The voice yelled from inside the van. She honked the horn and killed the engine. She got out. The tall woman looked to be in her late 20s, muscular, with dark hair, and wore large round sunglasses. She stopped and looked at me. What are you looking at? Miss K's Aunt Bianca said to me. Just enjoying the sunset, I said. Not sure what I meant. There was no sunset. Audrey? Bianca said, making her way into the house. She stood next to her niece, putting both of her hands on her shoulder. Why aren't you in Phoenix? You quit finally? I need everyone in the house. We need to talk. We have a problem, Miss Kate said. Aurore, give me the death machine you were holding. Turn it off. I stepped back. I can't. That's the only way I can find Mia. More people than Mia are going to get hurt, she said. Please, give me the phone. Before I even knew what I was doing, I panicked. I can't. I promised you something in another dimension. And I messed up. But I'm going to keep trying until I get it right. Trust me, Miss K. I sprinted towards the van. I slammed the door, started the engine, and backed out of the driveway. I floored the gas and raced away from the house, leaving everyone on the lawn behind. As the hippie van sped down the road, I couldn't help but wonder, how could I fix all this now? When I opened the door to my own house, I could see my mother lying on the sofa in the living room. She laid in the same spot she had when I left her in 2002. She narrowed her eyes at me. I hadn't realized how much I looked like my mom. She almost looked like a younger Azami, if that even makes any sense. Well, I said. Hi, Mom. She tried to sit up. Who are you? I said, you should drink some water. Before going upstairs, I stopped to get her a glass of water in the kitchen. All the dishes were dirty and the dishwasher hung open, half-loaded. I stopped to get a clean glass and filled it up with water. I walked over to her, passing the big TV playing at full volume. She took it, to my surprise. Why are you in my house? She asked, taking a sip of water. I'm here for Aurore, I said. Okay, my mom said. She drank the last of the glass of water and put it on the floor. I shook my head in disappointment. Thanks, Mom. I went up the stairs. I opened the door to my old room. I cringed at the sight of all the papers on the wall held up by thumbtacks. They were poems I had written. I had thought were amazing. They ended up in the trash a few years later. From the corner of my eye, I saw something move. Someone stood on a chair looking at a mirror I had kept on an old dresser. No freaking way. There I stood, 15-year-old me, yawning with the sweatshirt inside out. Confetti scattered through the room as the fan above spun. Why are you wearing a sweatshirt? I asked. It's hot. Why are you wearing like no clothes? Rory asked, stepping down. Who are you? They took their headphones off. My, as in Rory's, hair looked awful. They had cut their hair short and their bangs were sticking up as if they were conducting weather experiments. Little me looked like I hadn't washed my face in weeks, which I bet I hadn't. The hell did you do to your hair? I yelled. I cut it. I found some photos of someone who looked like me but older on the U-Pad and decided to cut it like them. I never and would never cut my hair. And oh my God, did I sound like that? I thought. The one that shot out confetti. You can't have my U-Pad. It has games on it. I'm like, there's games on here? Never mind. I need that phone now. You're not the boss of me. Get out of my house, Rory said. I am the boss of you. I'm you, I said. Ew, no. Why do you look like that? Like what? I don't have time for this, Rory. You don't get a choice. I started looking through the room, through all the garbage I used to collect, I used to call my things. Where's the PDA? I'm not giving it to you, Rory said. I ducked down to look under my bed. Something hit me. I turned around, and there Rory stood, holding a math book. Kid, what the hell? I yelled. They charge you a lot for leaving marks on those textbooks. I'm hitting you with something heavier if you don't leave right now, Rory yelled. Listen to me. You let me methinimicate with you, and I'll do anything you want. I got a van, we can go anywhere, do anything. I took a step back. Anything. Rory looked at me angrily for a moment. At first, Rory hesitated to get into the van, but after I reminded them of the ice cream, they got in and fastened their seatbelts. It kind of sucked that I was gullible, but I always kind of knew. My plan had worked so far, so I guess that part was cool. What should I call you? Little me said. I shrugged. Who cares what they call me? They weren't going to be there for much longer. Rory looked at me. I can't say that. It's not hard. Me. Okay. Rory peeked out the window and began counting light posts. Cool kid, I sighed. Close enough. Kids ran everywhere at Sweet Scoops. What I thought would be a short stop for ice cream looked like it was going to take a lot more time. Time I didn't have. I could sucker the gullible kid into authenticating a different way. I looked at the PDA battery level and tried not to think about it too much. I'm sorry, the woman from behind the counter said. We're closed for a birthday party. We'll go somewhere else, kid. Let's get back in the van, I said, motioning them back outside. Aurore! I knew the sugary sweet voice. I turned my head back and there she was, freaking Sally Lewis. She sat at a table in her cheerleading uniform, eating a sundae with the other kids around a bunch of presents. This was the party I didn't go to 3 years ago. I remember being upset at home, lying on the floor most of the day. But when I first saw Rory, a while before, they looked happy. This didn't even feel like the same dimension, yet it had to be. A woman stood up from her cake. Sit down, Mom. I apologized in the invocation Mia gave them. Aurore, come have some cake. It's German chocolate. I never got an invitation to Sally Lewis's birthday party. Mia never gave me anything. I turned to Rory, but Sally had run across the room. She hugged them. Rory didn't move. Their eyes widened like a cat getting too much affection and not knowing what to do. The hell are you doing, Sally? I asked. You hate me. I don't know you, she asked, still hugging Rory. She still had a smile on half her face and a frown on the other. Right, look, we can go somewhere else, I said. Please don't go, Sally cried. We're playing table pool and then having cake and... Can you let go of me, please? Rory wiggled the way out of Sally's death grip. The hell? I asked. I heard Rory shout from across the store. Hey, ass Amy, what kind of ice cream do you want? A Zami. I winced. The coconut and chocolate surprise. Rory shot me a look. Ew. They don't have it, Sally yelled. They have it. It's the second to the bottom left by the... Oh, right, 1998. I'll take whatever Rory has, I said. Sally waved and pointed to the corner of the ice cream display. Cookie dough, dino delight. With all my soul, I tried not to say anything or think anything. Thanks, Sally. I thought I did okay. I took a seat near one of the mothers in the booth. Rory walked over to me, holding 2 giant ice cream cones with sprinkles. Sally walked with them, smiling. They came to stand by me. I'm glad we came. Rory said, sitting next to me. Sally also sat next to us. I shifted towards the wall so we could all fit. "You got enough room, Rory?" Sally asked. I couldn't hold it in any longer. "They threw you up against a tree, Sally. What are you?" Sally shrugged. "That happened last week. I was wrong. I should have left Mia out of her fight. No big. It's okay to make mistakes." She took a giant bite of ice cream. "I'm happy you showed up. I didn't think you'd ever talk to me again." I coughed awkwardly. "Think I need something to drink." Rory laughed at my discomfort. My jaw dropped. There I was, smiling. Not a depressed smile, a real one. Grinning from ear to ear, overjoyed to be around people. They started talking about some new kid's trapper keeper. A feeling came over me that I didn't know how to describe as I watched them interact, like a normal kid, eating ice cream and telling silly stories about floppy disk drives failing with their homework glossed on it. "Can you stop looking at me?" Rory finally asked, with a look of disgust. "It's creeping me out." I ignored myself and thought about how that me wouldn't get to experience life after the shift. It's a thought that turned my stomach. I had already made the choice. There was no going back now. Intending to go find something to drink to take the pain away, I pushed myself and Sally out of the booth. But Sally scooted back in. Bianca stood at the end of the table, smiling at me. Not a good smile. "Stay there a moment. Tell me about your van." Bianca stood crossed-armed with the family wild bear eyes. Little Maria, stood next to her. "Tell me about the sunset." "With my invitation, Maria," Rory asked little Maria, which was not a cool thing to do in front of Bianca. "I gave it to you at lunch on Friday." Maria looked down. "You didn't," Rory shouted. "Why would you know?" Maria shoved Rory. Episode 6, The Reset. Leaning in towards the booth, Aunt Bianca chewed gum, holding Maria back. Sally gently stood in front of Rory, who tried swinging after the water fountain bully. "Want to talk about your little joyride of my van, Sunset?" Bianca spoke to me, with the palms of her hands lying flat on the table. "You wake up and decide it's a nice sunny day for Grand Theft Auto?" "Mom wants us all back in the house. Figure this out," Maria said, holding on the side of her bloody nose. "That's my van," I stated. Bianca's lips jerked out. She started to yell, "Ekva!" Bianca stopped and looked at Sally, who smiled, looking happy to be there. She chose nicer words. "What did you say?" I turned around, looking at the window behind me. There in the parking lot, I noticed something else. A tiny crack on the lower part of the window above my head. I looked back and saw Rory holding their PDA. I moved my pocket computer thing as close to theirs as I could. "Authenticated. Data transferred. Future trees assets secured," it said. Data transferred? I hope nothing on the Remy chip got moved and I had a chance to track down the real Mia still. "Turn your pager off. We got things to do." Bianca talked to me as if I were some lawyer's personal assistant. "Maria, cover your ears," I said. Maria did. I grabbed Rory's cell phone with my left hand and ripped it out. My right hand, I jabbed into the glass, PDA side up, intending to break the window. "That's not how that works," Bianca laughed at me. I shoved the table towards Bianca as hard as I could. Rory and Sally scooted away from us. The mothers at the nearby table stood up. Bianca rushed at me. I climbed my way up onto the table bench and jumped over my past junior high self. I sprinted out of Sweet Scoops, holding onto the items in my hands with dear life. I made for the exit. I took the keys out of my shirt pocket with my right hand and opened the door. The keys turned smooth in the ignition and the engine started. With the van in reverse, I stomped on the gas and turned as hard left as I could. I shifted into drive and floored it once again. I grabbed the steering wheel with my right hand. I noticed I held something. The wrong PDA. Rory's PDA. I stopped the van and leapt out. I ran back towards my own device. Bianca, Maria, Rory, and Sally, along with most of the rest of the party, ran out of the building. Bianca ran to the exit and stood in the middle of the road. Rory held my old time travel machine. "I want to do this," I said. I ran as fast as I could to the dimensional death device, but I looked up. My eyes were locked with Bianca's, who made a mad dash for the van. I couldn't make it, and I did not want to get in a fight with that woman. I turned back and ran to the van, shutting the door, and raced out of the parking lot. I drove down the road screaming and cursing at the steering wheel. "Why couldn't you have held onto it?" I yelled at myself. I took a breath. The smell of the van clogged up my nose a little, but I kept trying. I looked back to the phone. The edge of Rory's phone had cracked. As I tried not to freak out with a full-on panic attack, I had to turn back into my lane before I hit a curb. 1 hour until the end of the shift, the death device buzzed. I glanced again and saw a message written on the screen. The shift is a 4-hour shift due to Future Treat's minor worker labor practices. Brooke! I yelled, my hand hitting the steering wheel. I guess she did tell me this would suck. This wasn't what I wanted. The phone went on. Aurore's voice recognized. "Would you like to load your profile and last known RAM image?" "Yes," I shouted. Then I remembered what Future Treat's employee said. If the Rammy chip has to be unloaded, it was over. "No!" I corrected. RAM profile loaded. You ever had a moment when you lost all control of your senses and feelings? I had one of those moments on the freeway. I had to devalue myself to escape, and I never was going to see Mia again either. I couldn't even feel the wheel in my hands. The van tires hit the curb as I pulled over to park near a quiet side street. I rammed my head into the steering wheel, sounding off the horn and screaming into the void. Changed the settings on my device so I would have 4 hours to save Mia. Rory would know about the reset and the need to get the duffel bag. "Duffel bag," I shouted. I pulled a U on the highway and sped across towards Elon's cabbage. Backed into the ridiculous cabbage store and turned off the engine. The timer on the old phone dwindled until minutes remaining on the shift. Inside, Brooke stood where she had last time, reading the handbook. You get the money first," she chuckled. "Your older self never figured that out. You're shifting soon. Better get that bag so our plan will work." "How could you know?" I asked. I sped across towards the back of the store. "Why are you always here?" "I'm always working," she deadpanned, "living large." I went to the room the bag had once been in before, in a different identical dimension, that is. "Oh," remembered. "Your younger self is here." The fluorescent lights in the back of the room were so bright that they hurt my eyes. My younger self stood in front of me, holding the Future Treats duffel bag of money. "Please," Rory begged. "Don't tell me you also thought of the bag and hiding it so you had more time to figure out what to do." "Yeah, kid," I lied. "It's pretty smart. How did you learn about this? What's going on?" "I talked to Miss Kay." Rory pulled on the bag around their shoulder. "How would she know anything?" I asked. "She wasn't with us." The box of money. I had left the money with Miss Kay when I returned from the other shift. She must have gone looking for Elon's cabbage. But why was Rory here? "I'm trying to do what's best for everyone." "Those choices are hard," I said. "You suck at making them," Rory jeered. "I know. You're supposed to keep messing everything up until you get everything right. You're not getting this money." Sally handed Rory a cabbage. Something happened. At first, it felt like I had been hit in the back of the head with a wet pillow. I rubbed my neck where I felt chunks of cabbage. I turned around. I had the right to be hurt, but instead I sighed. I turned around to face Miss Kay, holding a head of cabbage over her head. I closed my eyes. "Hey, Miss Kay." She lowered the cabbage. Hey, Aurore. Or Azami, whatever. I'm trying so hard to do the right thing. I'm trying to get her back. I wish she would help me. You're in it for yourself. Brooke told us everything. You can't do this. Not like this, she said, hurt. Rory could see the pained expression on my face. I'm not in this for myself. I leaped towards Rory, who now made a mad dash with Sally towards the back exit. Rory had almost made it out, but the bag snagged on the door frame. They tried to clear the frame, but it wouldn't let go. I swung as hard as I could, grabbed the bag, and pulled. The phone dinged.
Oh, yeah, find your way to the reset point, please. Thank you.
Sally grabbed onto Rory and then onto the bag. They pulled together. Why is Sally here? I yelled as I felt another soft hit to the back of my head. Can you stop hitting me with cabbage, Miss K? I yelled. You're making a mistake. I pulled. The bag broke free. Before I could plant my back foot to run, Rory bear tackled me, knocking me back. They pushed my hands away, causing me to lose grip on the bag. I grabbed my phone back. On the floor, I rolled as hard as I could away. Years of stop, drop, and roll in elementary school had finally paid off. My elbows banged on the floor, leaving my skin raw and burning. I didn't care. I pulled out the phone and found an order as fast as I could. I backed away. A message appeared on the screen. RAM transferred. Travel to dimension 07827534. I hit confirm so hard my finger jammed. It was over, but I might as well cling on to hope. That was my thinking. The phone spoke in a different, calming voice. Confirmed, Rory. The old phone had loaded the wrong profile. Traveling to dimension 07827534, it said. Rory dashed at me, but I backed away in time for the phone to take me away. I fell hard to the ground, blinking. The store looked more modern than it had in the other dimension. I heard a voice from the other room. Got both phones, huh? You bet, I yelled. Nice, Brooke crooned. Welcome to 2002. Special code successful. RAM transferred. A similar dimension that matched your request has been loaded. This dimensional jump has been sponsored by Pet Escort Services. Let our escorts walk your pets for you while you make deliveries. Doesn't matter the pet, we'll take care of him. Pet Escort Services. We know our way around town. Click on the PDA now to learn more. 200 roses. I didn't know if Mia was safe or where she was. I had no way of knowing. I gasped, find my phone. No, you're getting this, Brooke encouraged, not looking up from her desk. I had to take a bus to get to Mia's house, but since I had both phones, nobody would get out of any universe. Finally arriving back at the K house, I yelled and made whatever noise I could, hoping somebody would come to the door. Door opened. There was that curly side part, an instant eye roll. She wore an oversized t-shirt with a pocket, no pants, and no shoes, as if she had just arrived. Aurore? She spoke softly in that wonderful, sarcastic voice, crying, I'm so happy to see you. How did you get here? I don't know how to tell you, I breathed. The cabbage lady got me here, Mia. You're right. I need to stop beating myself up, because at the end of the day, that's all I have, and I'm no good if I'm all black and blue. I can do things like finding a way to see you again. I can live without you, but I don't want to. I'm going to hug you if you'll let me. I'm mad at you, she crossed her arms. Punched a hole in my wall and you're about to kill an entire universe worth of people. She sifted, leaning against the frame. She looked to the side. But I don't want to live without you either. Tackled, hugged her so hard. I held my face close to hers, holding on to her with my everything. I want to learn to function with you. I lost you, and it's hard to explain, but I lost myself too. And now I'm here and we're gonna have to act together. What's wrong? She asked, concerned. I don't know how this is going to end, I almost whispered, holding down the trauma. The next choice we make is going to be hard. But like Brooke said, we need to go. And you've got to trust me for once not to slam the door or drop the phone, and we have to tie up your mother. What? You also lied to me about Sally Lewis's birthday party. She totally did invite me. No, she totally didn't. She looked down and away. I'll explain everything at some other time. Our time. We need to get to the reset point to take back the duffel bag so we can escape. Steal the duffel bag? From whom? Your future you? Why are we tying up my mom? Mia walked along beside me. It's okay, she hit me with cabbage. Everyone is just trying to do the right thing here. I canceled my order in 2002, taking another one in 1998. Hug me, I leaned in for approval. She did. I hit confirm. The phone took us back for one last shot at getting things back to normal. Welcome to 1998. This dimensional jump has been sponsored by Jim Bob Shaving Cream. Jim Bob Shaving Cream gives you a close shave every time about. Now comes in 3 distinctable edible flavors, raspberry, lemon, and extra whipped. Try some on your favorite dessert. The phone buzzed. Hey, look, shift's over. You gotta, get your money and go home. We heard a thump from upstairs, like somebody walking across the floor. That's from my room, Mia said loudly. We ran upstairs. The locked door was not a Mia thing. I thought I heard voices and faint whispers of breathing. They didn't leave the bag here, did they? I asked. Mia, Miss K yelled from the other side of the door. Get the bag, I yelled, charging inside. Mia went after her junior high self. I held my hands to my pockets to protect the phones. Rory and Miss K charged at me. Sally stood in a corner, watching. I realized what was happening. I ducked. Bianca swung a baseball bat. She swung at my knees, missing as I pushed my hips back. Rory threw a head of cabbage, whacking me in the face. I got it, Mia yelled. She ran for the exit behind Bianca, who swung the bat downwards, missing Mia, probably on purpose. I dashed by Rory and pulled Miss K to the other side of the door. I slammed it as hard as I could using all my weight. I pulled out the phone. A message appeared on the screen. Weight limit increased. Please return company property. You can now reset from anywhere. I heard my younger self cry out. It got quiet. No! Miss K reached for the knob. Mom, don't! Mia shouted. Miss K pulled on the door against us. Mom! Maria pounded on the wood. Let me out! I heard my own voice. Please, please don't do this, Zami. I don't deserve this, please. Why do you get to live and I don't? Sorry, kid, it's his job. Only one of us can get out. I'm sorry, it sucks, but we've got to go. I pressed harder against the door. If we're gonna do this, we need to do this now, Mia said. Let them out. Miss K pleaded with me. There's no other way. We need the 3 of us to get out of here. That's the only way we can return things to normal. There are countless dimensions out there. There are other us's. None of them will feel pain. But I will, Rory screamed. I paused. Maria and Bianca kept pounding, kicking at the door, kicking at the wood, trying to move us out of the way to escape. I pulled up the other phone. The other phone had the same message. My eyes closed. I thought about the last time I saw my older self, the look on their face. There I was, taking everything out on myself again, hoping by doing it things would get better. Again. Have you ever had a moment you realized you had to do something hard? I had that moment, and I decided to face it. Enough, I stood. Mia stumbled up, baffled. I walked away and threw down my phone. Door opened. Okay, little one, I told Rory. If you have a better plan, I'll go with it. I don't need to fix all my mistakes. Duffel bag issued an audible warning. Return the duffel bag now, or face the consequences. The younger one should get out, Bianca said. Older ones stay behind. Mia grabbed my hand and squeezed. We nodded. Rory, Maria, and Sally stood together by the bed. Maria had the money bag. We stood back towards the corner of the room, near the Screaming Labrams band posters, huddling together. Rory's finger hovered across the screen. They looked at Sally and Maria. The duffel bag buzzed. An alarm sounded. Get going. Go make a bunch of mistakes, I waved. The three stood in what felt like a photo, not moving, not blinking, not breathing. The noise in the bag grew louder. Go on, Rory, Miss Kay said, huddled with the older adults. Rory and Maria looked to each other. Maria sighed. Don't do it, she said. They're dumb. I know, Mia, Rory snapped. They threw the phone. You adults act like you're all smart, but I think secretly none of you have a clue about what you're doing. How's this going to solve anything? Turn company property now, the bag roared. Rory, you're going in. I put the phone back in their hand. You're resetting. We heard a voice from the other room. Hello, I've let myself in. Brooke appeared from the hallway wearing a tie and black slacks. She put one hand in one pocket and the other hand on her hip. Found ourselves backing further into Mia's room. Bianca picked up the baseball bat. You're in the wrong house. Bianca patted the metal with her palm. Nonsense, I'm here for my favor. Rory gasped. This is an uncharted dimension. No one can find us here, Brooke said. So I want to... Wait. Why is everyone standing around the phone in the duffel bag? You weren't going to reset, were you? The realization hit and you realized you didn't have to in the world. I hinted pretty hard. I said we had a plan. Are all the phones on airplane mode so we can let the battery drain out? We all looked at each other. Rory and little Mia shook their heads at us. Yeah, that's exactly what we did, I lied, putting the phone in the airplane mode. Everyone nodded. 1998 is cool. We can hang out here. I sighed. We breathed out a collective sigh of relief. Most employees don't figure out the whole future treat scam falls apart if you don't do anything, Brooke said. No offense, but it took you a long time to figure that out. Anyways, I'll take the money from the bag and a few USB drives as part of the favor. The thing will run out of power after 48 hours. I'll put it in a noise-proof room until then. I'll have to hang out for a while since I have nowhere to go. With that in mind, where's the bathroom? Sally pointed Brooke towards the bathroom while Bianca helped whatever she could do to silence the bag. I faced my younger self. I'm going to learn to be cooler to you. I'm not beating you up anymore. From here on out, I'm your friend. We might not get along, but I promise I will fight for you. I don't know how, but I'll learn. Rory paused. I don't know how to respond to that, they whispered. I want a sonnet. No, Rory nodded their head. So no one's dying, Bianca asked. Mia tackle-hugged her, and then me. She buried her face in my cheek. I hugged her back. I woke up like I did most mornings when living at the Kay's house. Though I wasn't wearing my emotional support hoodie I'd never be able to replace. Well, I could if I went to the same store and bought the same hoodie in the same year, but it wouldn't be the same. Though I felt off. I felt that since I accidentally killed everyone in an entire universe, I shouldn't complain. I'm not proud of everything I've done. If I had had better information at the time, I would have acted differently. It's kind of how hindsight works, I'm learning. Sometimes our mistakes hurt others. We didn't kill everyone in this one, so I'll keep doing the best I can. I made my way downstairs super early and made a full pot of coffee to start off the new routine. Rory sat at the counter, already up with their suitcases packed. Their hair stuck up worse than normal, but they didn't seem to care.
You can make coffee, you know. That wasn't always a thing when their other me lived at home. I have no idea if young me should be drinking coffee or not either, but that didn't stop me at that age, so I let it be. But our mom had started getting better after she took a part-time shift at Fukuyu Family Market. Dr. Tanaka opened a few years earlier after we told her what happened. Rory lives with me, but we tried to go visit Mom whenever she wants to see us. We're all getting there. The coffee pot clinked. I poured Rory a cup. I'm putting milk in mine, Rory said. It's fine, I sighed. They poured milk into their cup and began to drain the entire sugar container. I got annoyed. Watching them use all the sugar in the house. Sure, we have more money than we know what to do with, but we're figuring out our laundry arrangement with the store so we can pay taxes and spend our money. I didn't want to go out and buy more sugar. I wanted to say something about being wasteful, but then I saw how my younger self smiled. In the morning, I didn't even shake my head. I left it alone. Mia entered the room. Rory opened the fridge to put back the milk. They turned to the waking bear. They tried to gently close it, but the door fell out of their hands and slammed shut. Rory began to mumble. Thank you for trying, an annoyed Mia mumbled. Little Maria walked down the stairs with an equal hate of existence. She sat next to her older self. Another cup and handed it to Mia. She sat in silence, eyes squinted, hair ruffled for a couple of minutes. She continuously checked her cup with her hand. When the coffee had cooled, she took a sip. She turned to me and smiled. Sally will be here soon. Her parents are dropping her off for the trip. I need to talk to Miss K. I poured one last cup of coffee. I messed up Mia's hair and walked upstairs. Knocking on the bedroom door, mug in hand, Miss K said, Come in. I brought the coffee mug in and sat it on the nightstand. She stood in front of the dresser, packing a suitcase for our trip. You said you wanted to talk to me last night, Miss K? Yeah, I'm finishing up packing. I'm going to call Bianca before she takes off to meet us. Nervous about driving or being your past self for the first time? My first time didn't go well for me. Yep. She zipped up a large suitcase. And New York is far, but she needed time to think. We have time. Can you talk to myself for me? And tell her everything that happened because I'm not sure I put it into words okay. Her first phone call did not go well. We fought over the house. I can try, I said. She looked back up. Are you worried that the company is going to come after you for not returning the duffel bag with the money? Miss K asked. After the deaf devices powered off, me and I buried them. They can't find us here. The doorbell rang. That must be Sally. Miss K frowned. I laughed at this. We both headed to the living room. Sally's parents and Brooke from the cabbage store helped bring in 2 large suitcases. I walked behind Mia and rested my head on hers. How long are we going to stay at the park? Sally asked. Rory was like, as long as we want. Dibs on the front seat. Brooke stuck up her finger. I put a hand on Mia's shoulder. I told you things were going to get better, I said. I decided to go eat breakfast while everyone got ready. I took one of the home-baked cupcakes from the container on the counter and took a bite. Mia stole a bite from the other side. And that's how I finally learned to live with myself. Not that it's easy. Rory and I can't agree on anything, but I guess that's how things go. Mia and Maria pretend the other doesn't exist. I bet it'll get easier for them. Meeting yourself for the first time is strange. And you might find yourself saying things you don't mean. Rory won't stop saying, I'll never do that. It's all confusing, but it'll make things work. And so will you too. Just take it easy on yourself. Had you thought about what you wanted to call yourself? Other Miss K? The end. thank you so much for everyone who's been listening. Took a lot of time, and I'm glad somebody actually listened to it. So, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who helped work on the project too. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think about it in like or a comment or whatever. Yeah, most important thing is take it easy on yourself. Have fun looking for cows out there.